What's up, guys? Welcome to today's video where I'm going to show you how to save money by flipping your braid.
Fish on.
That's a toad, brother.
Golly.
All right, guys, so before I jump into today's video, I got to give a big shout out to the folks at Shimano for making today's video possible. Guys, I couldn't bring you these videos if it wasn't for your support and the support of our awesome sponsors. So be sure to check out Shimano's amazing lineup of products. I'll link up their website in the description box below. All right, so before we jump into today's topic, I've got an idea, and I know if I put it at the end of the video, a lot of you guys won't see it. So I'm going to put it right here at the beginning. I really want to share with you guys these money-saving tips, and a lot of this stuff I picked up from other folks along the way. So do me a favor and comment in the comment section with a tip you have on saving money, saving lures, saving rods, reels, lures, line, guides, you know, whatever. But any tip that you have that'll save money, save time, which is money. And I'll do the best I can to articulate it in a video and share it with the rest of the Knucklehead Nation here. So if you can do that, and I pick your comment, I'll feature your comment in the video and give you a free membership to Kayak Bass Fishing. So let's jump into today's topic. All right, so one of the things that I've been saying I was gonna do this year is bring you a lot more of the behind the scenes, you know, the filler stuff, but really this is actually the stuff that makes fishing what it is. So today I'm going to show you something I've talked about over the years, which is how to save money on braid, but I've actually never really showed the process. So got off the water this morning, doing a little midday break, and during my midday breaks, instead of driving back to the campsite or driving back to the hotel, I fill my time by organizing gear, retying leaders, you know, things like that. So as the water temperatures start to warm up, I realize I need to fish a little faster. So I've been fishing a chatterbait with a 6-2-1. I want to use my chatterbait and my spinnerbait reel to move up to that burner. So I broke out a Bantam 7-1 gear ratio. And when I was just about to spool it up, I realized A, I needed to flip my braid, and 2, I needed to change reels from one rod to the other. So I'm going to move my 6-2 gear ratio reel over to my jig and worm rod, because I'm moving it a little bit slower, and I'm going to move the 7-1 over to the rod that I'll be using for chatterbait, spinnerbaits. And then ultimately I also like to use that same rod, believe it or not, for fishing buzzbaits. So I'm going to show you guys how I flip my braid so that you can save money. One of the main reasons that I like to use braid is for sensitivity, casting distance, all that, but also once this upper part of the line or the running line part sort of starts to get worn down, a lot of people cut it off and they keep working their way down to the bottom of the spool. And then what that does is that changes your reel performance. It actually changes the effective gear ratio. And more importantly, it just makes the reel not perform as well as it should, because the centrifugal brakes and the friction knobs and all that kind of stuff are designed to perform better with a full spool. So what I do is simply take the reel and back my star drag all the way off to where the line pulls off nice and smooth. And then I just take the braided line and I lean my rod up against something. Now, one cool thing that I've got with my system here is these decked boxes that go inside the deck system, you know, are really great for organizing my gear, but they also make a really nice reel tray. So I'll show you how that works. But I'm gonna take the new reel that I wanna put this 40-pound braid on, and I'm simply going to just go to the end of the line, and I'm gonna tie a double or triple overhand knot. Now, depending on how thick the diameter is, I'll tie less knots, and how thin it is, I'll tie more. So I'm gonna take my clippers. Let me get this fishing line from behind my ear. All right, so I'm just gonna take my line clippers and I'm gonna cut that off right past that knot, just like so. You can also use your line cutters, and then I'm gonna skin it so that that piece of the braid right there gets trapped in the way that I tie my knot on. That'll be important in just a second. So once you do that, you're just gonna remove the side of the reel and take the spool out, depending on how your reel is set up. I'm not getting into the specifics of that. That's pretty much something you can check your manufacturer's specs. But what you're gonna do is take your line and you're gonna go through the worm gear hole, just like so. And that's the guide, the thing that reels your line on. You're gonna come out the side of the reel, all right? I'm gonna set this down over here, just like that, so I can show you how this works. Now, what you're gonna do is you're gonna take your spool, you're gonna take your overhand knot, just like that, which is basically just the simplest knot in the world, okay? Then you're gonna pull that down and get the slack out. And that's gonna make what we call a slip knot or an arbor knot, okay? Now, once you get that done, now this is a trick that I do that prevents you from having to glue your spool, put tape on it, or even use a monofilament backing. So what you do is you take that slip knot, slide it down just like that. Now here's the key, and here's how you can get away with not having to have that extra stuff on there or having to have a monofilament backing. You're gonna take that line and just make a half hitch, which is basically just turning the line inside out. Make a half hitch on one side of the spool. You're gonna do the same thing again. Again, just turning that loop over the top of it. You're gonna make another half hitch. Once I get that done, I go back and forth until that gets really nice and tight. And as you notice, even with two, I'm not pulling that thing, so it's not gonna turn, but I'm gonna do insurance, and I'm gonna do one more on each side. And remember, you have to alternate sides because that's what creates that friction lock that prevents your line. Now you work that back and forth until it all kind of comes together right at that knot. Once you work that down, you really want to get that slack out of there, and I use my fingernail or what I have of a fingernail and slide it all down and just get it nice and taut. Remember I told you about that little fuzzy tag that I made? Well, that fuzzy tag gets captured under the knot and really helps cinch that thing down. So it's important to leave that little bit of tag and to skin it. Now what you're gonna do is you're simply gonna take that line, pull it back through your reel. And guys, I apologize for the ambient noise. I'm at a public boat ramp. That's just part of it. And I didn't bring a bunch of mic stuff. You're gonna put your spool back in, replace the side, depending on how your reel is manufactured, what brand it is, you know, all that good stuff. You're just gonna put it back on the side, lock it back in place. Now, here's where the whole braid to braid thing comes into play, or line to line thing comes into play. I'm just gonna set that rod, again, with all of the drag loosened all the way down. I'm gonna guide this with my fingers, and I'm just gonna reel all that braid from the one reel to the other. So in effect, I'm flipping the braid. I'm putting all the old braid down on the base of the new reel, and I'm putting the new braid that's on the bottom on the top. Now, the cool thing about braid is it doesn't have memory, and you can't really get away with this as easily with fluorocarbon and monofilament because that line that's been down at the base of your spool is gonna have a lot of compacted coils in it. It's gonna be like fishing with a slinky. So I really don't recommend doing this with fluorocarbon or with monofilament. And this is also one of the main reasons I love fishing braid on pretty much everything. Now, one thing you have to keep in mind is if you're going from a big spool to a small spool or vice versa, you don't want to be in a situation where you go from a small spool to a big spool and then you don't end up filling up your spool. So you have to take that into consideration. But these spools and spool capacities are pretty much the same size. So now I have reeled that all the way down to the knot. I'm not going to worry about that last little bit. I'm just going to cut that off. I'm going to put this on my new rod. Then I'm going to put new braid on my other reel, switch it to the other rod, upgrading to 60-pound braid, and bada boom, bada bing. I have not only flipped my reels to where they're on a rod paired up for a better presentation based on changing conditions as we go from winter to spring and even into later spring, you know, post-spawn stuff, to where I'm going to be fishing a lot faster, to also flipping the braid over and saving money. So guys, like I said, I've talked about it for years, and I decided to bring you it. So wanted to make this video as relatively quick. I'm going to put the other braid on the new reel. Not going to bore you with showing you that again. But again, guys, I'll put the details in the description box below for what rod and reel setups I switched to and from, so you can kind of understand what I'm talking about. And I'll put the preferred presentations that go along with it and why I make these changes as the seasons start to change. But anyway, develop a system for yourself. The main reason that I mentioned this deck system before is what's cool about it is I put these bulk size spools of braid into that drawer, and then when I'm reeling it in, it just sits there and spins. And so this isn't really an advertisement for Decked, even though I do love the deck system, and it's an amazing way to organize all my gear, keep it safe. When my truck is locked and my tailgate's locked, it's locked. But it's more a here's how you save money on braid. And one of the number one ways that you can save money on braid is to buy in bulk. Because for one, the size of spools and the size of spools don't match up. It's kind of like how hot dogs come, you know, 6 to a pack, but buns come 8. It's kind of weird. Like, you never get the right amount of braid for the reels out of one of these guys, right? Which is why I like the bulk a lot better when I can get them. So flip your braid, save money. match it up with the right gear ratio and the right presentation, and that'll save you a lot of money, save you a lot of time, save you a lot of frustration from losing fish. But that's a whole separate video. Matter of fact, y'all comment below. Do you want to know about that topic? Do you want me to really get into gear ratios, what's best for what, how you can prevent losing fish? You know, I've actually lost a couple of fish this year delaying this process. But also buy in bulk, buy your braid in bulk. I know the folks at Fish USA sell the bulk spools. You can buy them in a lot of different places, but buy in bulk, you'll save a lot of money. You'll save a lot of frustration. You won't waste that little piece of spool that doesn't fit, or more importantly, you won't reel your reel full of line and get to the point where you're just about there, but not quite. So anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this video. I got to finish getting geared up and head back out and do some more fishing. Love y'all. See you in the next video. All right, so before we jump into today's topic, I know if I put this at the end of the video, a lot of you knuckleheads won't watch to the end, because I don't watch to the end of all videos either, but you know what I'm saying. So if you have a money saving tip, post it up in the comment section below, because if you've got a way to save money, I'd like to figure out a way to communicate that to the rest of us here at this, you know,